What's going on, YouTube family and friends? Welcome back to the channel. And before we kick things off here, don't forget to get over to my main YouTube channel, which is called Making Easy Money. We're currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So when you guys do subscribe, can you please take the time out and make sure that notification bell is set to all, so you will be alerted each and every time I create one of these videos. And don't forget to check out my latest video on QUBT, as well as the quantum computing space as a whole. And in this video, guys, I give you a major buy alert, a stock you do not want to miss out on. I will have this video posted at the end of this one. Now, let's dive right in. And calling all GameStop shareholders, before we kick this thing off, I just want to take a quick poll. How many of you still believe in the GME short squeeze? If that's you, comment in the comment section below GME, and if we can get at least 25 of those comments, I will update GME here tomorrow. Now, with that being said, if you have been keeping up with my channel, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, I have been speaking highly about a stock called RGC since early March, labeling and calling that the next short squeeze target. At the time that I actually alerted that stock, ladies and gentlemen, the share price was only $6.85 back on the 13th, labeled that a hold back on March 13th. And if we take a brief look and just check out RGC here, currently, as you guys can see here, the stock just recently hit a high of $950 again from our $6.85 alert entry. Now you guys can see why I was calling this the next short squeeze target, and that solely came from the share float ratio in comparison to the market cap at the time, which made this thing a very primed short squeeze target. Not only that, we do see a major difference in the share float in comparison to the total share count, but that isn't anything to panic about here in the near future, due to the fact that those insider shares are tied up until mid 2026. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we do have time on our hands for this thing to continue to run, with a stock split being initiated here on the 16th. This is going to have a huge effect on price action. The reason why we're seeing a lot of barcoding betting here currently in RGC is due to the low volume tick, thanks to the drastic rise in share price. But with that 38-for-1 stock split, this thing should actually go under $38 at that point. And if that does happen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to actually see that share float increase by 38 times as well, ultimately providing liquidity and more shares to go around so retail investors can get in. With that being said, I do feel as though that is going to start round 2 for RGC's short squeeze. Now, the reason why I say you may want to get some shares now is due to the fact that if this thing actually does double in price after the stock split, then, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to have a huge multiplier on your underlying return. Let's say, for instance, you buy it now before the stock split, the share price goes to 900. We see the stock split actually take place. Now you're seeing a share price around $63, and from the $63, we see that thing increase to astronomical numbers again, 300, 600. Well, at that point, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to bend more than 10x your money. So that's why I suggest to get your feet wet now, pre-stock split, because once the stock split happens, we're going to see shares flying all over the place. Now, I do feel as though that from the current share price that we see here today, RGC stands a very great chance to return over 400% in gain within the next 3 months of trading. Like I said before, I strongly believe that this is still the primed short squeeze target. Far as GME goes, ladies and gentlemen, like I asked in the beginning of this video, do you currently still believe in the GameStop short squeeze? Well, I am here to tell you guys the huge share float difference here that GameStop currently has is going to make it extremely hard for this thing to actually see a short squeeze, especially with the drop in short interest in comparison to what we were actually receiving here in GME anytime that roaring kitty actually surfaced. And far as where is roaring kitty, ladies and gentlemen, that is a great question. When the company does major strategic corporate actions like this, I do feel as though that it is a need, like a guy like roaring kitty, to actually speak to the public and give his thoughts on it, especially on the type of interest he has built around this thing. But far as GME goes, that offering that they announced is going to take the stock sub $20 levels. In fact, I do feel as though that GME stands a very great chance to test those $18 levels before we see a major reversal here and or correction. Now, after the offering is complete, we should actually see a pivot to the upside from there, but I do not think a rally will be sustainable here in GME at all. Far as the GME short squeeze goes, I do feel as though that it is much better options to target to short squeeze a stock rather than GME because of the data isn't pointing to it. Too high of a share float, and market cap isn't a slouch. Even though that RGC market cap is pretty darn close, you have to take into consideration, ladies and gentlemen, when we alerted this stock at $6.85, the market cap was under 300 million. With that being said, this thing has made a huge turnaround here in building market cap. But again, after the stock split, I do actually see that market cap breaking beyond those $15 billion levels, and the likelihood of a short cover wave taking place if the retail investor interest calls for a major demand in the shares, then that short cover wave is very likely to happen. So with that being said, if you haven't already, don't forget to consider joining our Discord server so you will not miss out on any of the home run plays like you see here today.